Everybody loves to go on vacation, but when you set out for a destination that looks like this, and you end up instead somewhere that looks like this, you realize very quickly that you have yourself a problem, and in my case, an unhappy wife. I'm gonna take a step back for a second and say this is the first presentation that I've delivered where I was able to call Rachel my wife. 2 weeks ago, we got married, and thank you very much, thank you. I've been practicing because I didn't want to say fiance because I know I'm on video here, so I really, really wanted to nail that one. So what can you do? Well, you could sit down with a roadmap. You could sit down, plot out your end destination, plot out your home location, and connect the dots. Or, if you're like me, you wake up the morning of, you open up Waze, Apple Maps, Google Maps, or you say, Siri, get me to Ocean City, Maryland, and she gives you turn-by-turn navigation in your path to your destination. So when it comes to social media marketing and recruiting on social media, that strategy is the exact same. Without having a clearly defined destination, without having clearly defined goals, you'll never know if the tactics you're deploying are successful or if you're just shouting into the noise that is LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, any new platform that popped up while we were listening to Steve. So let's get started. This is Jay Baer. He's the founder of Convince and Convert. He has a quote that I use in every single presentation I deliver that says, the goal is not to be good at social media. The goal is to be good at business because of social media. The goal is not more likes on Facebook. The goal is not more clicks on Facebook. The goal is what you're all trying to achieve in terms of business metrics and leveraging social media as a tool to ultimately get us to that end destination. While we say that, it's important that we still understand the tools, that we understand the specific nuances of LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Because ultimately, just because you can use a wrench doesn't make you a great plumber. So we need to understand the tools, but we ultimately need this roadmap. We need this step-by-step guide to recruiting on social media so that we can understand what we're trying to achieve as owners and as thought leaders. So let's go through the tools specifically. Facebook recently had an update that said, with this update, we will also prioritize posts that spark conversations and meaningful interactions. Meaningful interactions is the important part there. Facebook, for a while, you could get away with quantity over quality. Facebook's changing that because there's so much noise on Facebook. As recruiters, you're not just competing with other recruiters in your local market. You're also competing with bands, sports teams, family, friends, Candy Crush invites, everything that is Facebook, that noise. So Facebook's prioritizing meaningful interactions. When you're posting, Facebook wants to see that people are engaging with it. They want to see comments. They want to see that people are not only liking it, but also taking that next step, sharing their thoughts. So how can you tap into that, knowing that you need meaningful interactions? When you're posting on Facebook, ask for feedback. Say, these are our top tips in this blog article. What do you think? What's your top tip? What would you do if you were in this situation? Ask for that feedback. Strive for meaningful interactions. The mission of LinkedIn is simple: to connect the world's professionals, to make them productive and successful. LinkedIn is not Facebook. I see that in my feed every single day. Somebody has the nerve to say, hey, this is LinkedIn, this isn't Facebook. You shouldn't post about your family. You shouldn't post who you are. I personally disagree with that comment. Like I said, I got married a couple weeks ago. The first thing I did was posted our wedding picture. And the reason is, as we get to know individuals, you start to do business with individuals. So as I'm traveling and I'm speaking and I'm delivering this presentation, I'm meeting people. And as I get to meet them, they should also know about Rachel. They should know who I am as a person. So that it's not, hey, let's call Brad and talk about social media. It's, hey, Brad, how are things? And then from there, we get into business. But the mission of LinkedIn is to make people productive and successful. So if you're sharing content, you're sharing ideas, you're sharing tips, strategies, best practices, tailor it towards productivity and how to make individuals successful. You can share the same article that you're already sharing on Facebook, but tailor that copy so that it's talking about productivity and how to ultimately make somebody successful. There's a key takeaway there: how to make an individual successful. It's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the end user and what they're seeing. How can you improve their day? How can you make them productive? How can you make them successful? Twitter is what's happening in the world and what people are talking about right now. Twitter is a microblog. That's how they file themselves. Twitter wants to know what you're seeing, what you're doing. So if you're at a great conference like this, joining the conversation on Twitter, talking about what you're seeing, who you're connecting with, what you're experiencing, connecting with different speakers, connecting with different individuals, but ultimately having that conversation. Twitter, in my opinion, is just one giant text message. Sure, you want to share jobs, you want to share opportunities, you want to share content. But Twitter is what's happening right now, and it's what people are talking about right now. So as you're scrolling through Twitter, assuming you have Twitter, if you don't, I highly recommend it. Listen to what people are saying. Don't just post your content, don't just share jobs, but actually respond to people. If people are asking questions and you know the answer, answer it. Use that as a way to get in front of a target audience, a target individual. Join the conversation. Again, this is Jay Baer, the founder of Convince and Convert. The goal is not to be good at social media. The goal is to be good at business because of social media. Once we understand the tools and we have a clear definition of what these platforms are and the specific nuances of each platform, then we want to focus on our goals. And we want to use social media as a way to leverage that tool to ultimately reach our goals. So as Pat said, this is my step-by-step guide to recruiting on social media. Step 1 of the 3-step process is defining your goals. When I say defining your goals, I don't mean, Brad, we want 150 page likes. We want 100 people to click on our content this month. When I say define your goals, I mean, what are you trying to achieve as a business owner? And as an owner, how can we break these down into SMART goals? You say, well, Brad, I want to make money. We have open job orders, they got to get filled. Need candidates. That's a hope. That's a wish. That's taking a dime, throwing it in a wishing well, and hoping that we can source the right candidates. But if we have SMART goals, then we have a destination. We know that we're trying to get to Ocean City, Maryland. We know what we're trying to achieve, and ultimately we know if we're successful or if we're not. And if we're not successful, we know what we have to change. So SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. You say, Brad, I need, say, 5 more applications. Let's leave it as a basic number. I need 5 applications. Okay, that's a good hope. That's a good wish. You say, Brad, I need 5 more product manager applications by December 1st. Now we have a SMART goal. We know exactly how many applications we're trying to get. We know for what specific role. We have a deadline, and then we can work towards that. We can leverage social media and the strategies and tactics that I'm going to talk about throughout the presentation, but ultimately we know where we're trying to get. We have a destination on our roadmap. Because again, if you're setting out for the beach and you end up in an alleyway, you have yourself a very big problem. Step 2 is conceptualize your strategy. I'm going to get very specific into tactics, strategies, and goals as we continue the presentation. For now, I'm just going to leave it at step 2 is conceptualizing your strategy. Step 3 is outlining your tactics. Social media is ever changing. The tactics that we deployed in January are not the tactics that we can deploy now. The tactics we're deploying now we will not use in January as well. We need to constantly be thinking about what's changing. As Brad mentioned on day 1, with SEO changing so frequently, we need to stay up to date with that. We also need to stay current with what's working on social media. That ties into understanding the tools, understanding the specific nuances of each platform. The tactics are really where it gets fun. It's where you're using the platforms to their advantage. You're doing everything that you can to leverage social media as a tool to drive business success. So the main goal of all recruiting firms, broke it down into 2 main goals. Gather applications, find the right candidates, and generate more job orders. Ultimately, we need to source the right people, and we need to put them in the right position for them. So we have 2 main goals. If we're looking at the strategies that can drive applications, website design, looking at your funnel on your website, increasing website visits, job board visits, content marketing, blogging, telephone calls directly to your office or emails directly to you, becoming an employer of choice in your local market. Why would somebody work for you and not somebody else? Why would they come to you when they're looking for their next opportunity instead of just going to Indeed and applying directly to that company? Attracting new candidates, activating passive candidates, reactivating past candidates, and then showcasing your brand identity. So we have 2 goals, but ultimately there's a lot of strategies that can get us there. Same with our vacation. I want to get to Ocean City. I could drive, could take a plane, could take a bus, could walk, could take one of those Lime scooters that they have in St. Louis that we don't have in Buffalo. Those are pretty fun. That's the strategy. That's how we're going to get there. The tactics. I have a bit of a disclaimer. I'm going to share about 20 social media tactics throughout this presentation that you can deploy that'll generate more applications. But I want to say that in a sense that you should start with one. Start with what you're most comfortable with and then move from there. If you don't have a Twitter account, but you're active daily on LinkedIn, start with one of the LinkedIn tactics. Don't overwhelm yourself. I'm not trying to overwhelm you in the least bit. I want to position these tactics as opportunities. What might work for you might not work for somebody else. They might not be comfortable with that. So again, my goal here is not to overwhelm anybody. It's not to say you should do all of this when you leave this afternoon. Just start with one. Promise me you'll start with one tactic, and as you start to look at the results, consider implementing a second tactic, deploying a second tactic. Let's get going. Website design. By a show of hands, how many people have been on their company website on their mobile device in the past month? Okay. Same people that said the past month, have you tried to apply to a job on your website in the past month? Show of hands. Right here in the back. If you had to guess how long it would take you to go through that application process on mobile, 5 minutes, 20 minutes? What do you think?
To apply on our website?
Yeah.
About a
Minute? That's awesome. Anybody have a time that you think maybe it's 15, 20 minutes? Anybody not know what the application looks like on mobile? That's a problem. I asked our tech team to pull some numbers before coming here. 50% of all website traffic, of the nearly 1,000 websites that we host at Haley Marketing Group, 50% of that traffic was from a mobile device. If we're looking to generate more candidates, more applications, and we don't know what our application looks like, we don't know what the candidate experience is like, that's a problem. We need to start there. We need to start with ultimately, how can we get more applications at the very foundation level? We could drive 1,000 people to the form, but if it takes 30 minutes to fill out that application on a mobile device, they're not going to do it. It's as simple as that. 50% of all website traffic from the sites that we host was on a mobile device last month. So I would challenge you as you leave this afternoon, maybe get the Wi-Fi on your flight home, go through the application, time yourself, physically look at how long it takes you to apply, and think to yourself, would somebody do this? And if not, think about how you can change that. Do you need all of that information up front? Could you maybe have a shorter application and question them, get additional information later? Go through that process. Second tactic is thinking about your conversion funnel. So thinking about how your website funnels traffic to the end destination. I love this example here because it shows 4 different calls to action, which might be a little much, but for sake of this presentation, it gives us 4 different things that we can talk about. The first, skip the search. Send us your resume. We'll find the jobs that are the best fit for you. Simple as that. Just give us your resume. Tell us your skills, your qualifications. Our team will go to work. We'll find the perfect opportunity for you. Option 2, we have over 100 jobs listed on our website right now, and there's one that is perfect for you. Browse our available opportunities. And the third is questions and comments. And the reason that that's listed as third is, for me personally, I think phone calls and emails should really be the last option. And the reason I'm going to say that is this. If you're driving phone calls, what happens if somebody comes to your website at 10:30 o'clock at night? After they've put their kids to bed, they're finally looking at their phone. They see a job opportunity on LinkedIn. They come over to your website, and their call to action is to call you. Are you going to pick up the phone at 10:30? If not, are we turning that candidate off because they can't get a hold of you as they want to? So this is the ideal flow for me. First, submit your resume. Tell us what you're great at, and our team will go to work. Second, browse the available opportunities that we have. When you're ready, on your time. Whether that's in the morning, the commute, whether it's at night, browse our available jobs when you're ready. And then third, give us a call. We'd love to chat. Shoot us an email. Another opportunity here is a flyout. You'll see that on the side. Over 150 available jobs, one that's perfect for you. This taps into that ADD nature of as you're scrolling through a page, all of a sudden a bright red light shows up. You look over there. Captivates your attention. That's what we're trying to do. So whether these fly in from the side to the bottom, that doesn't really matter to me. But it's just another area that we can think about. It's another opportunity that we can explore. If you want to take these a step further, as a bonus tip, you could add trackable links to these. So there's tools like Bialy, or you can use Google Analytics and different codes called UTM parameters, where you could actually track who is clicking on what button. So you could say, hey, it's important that people submit their resume, but if everybody's clicking on the browse available jobs, let's eliminate that. Let's cut that right out from the sidebar because nobody's using it anyways. Or maybe the copy isn't working. Let's change our copy. We can be strategic with what we're doing based on data. Next tactic, job board visits from Twitter. So Twitter's a conversation. As we're having that conversation, we also want to share available job opportunities. We want to position these in front of passive and active candidates. When we do that, we want to do it with captivating imagery. I call it thumb-stopping imagery. You get this mindset where people are just scrolling through Facebook, through Twitter, and they're just scrolling at almost an endless loop. We need to captivate their attention enough where they stop, and they look at it, and then they read the copy, and they go out and actually take action on that. So include eye-catching imagery. Be an impact player. Optimize your career. Use these strong, bold pieces of copy so that as individuals are scrolling, they see themselves in the role and they click to apply. Seeing themselves in the role is important too. It might go without saying, but if you're looking for project managers, you're looking for accountants, you don't want a picture of a welder on your image. Again, it might go without saying, but it's something that I still want to address. Think about your specific dig. Think about your specific area, your industry. Make sure the imagery reflects the type of individual that would be in that role so that they can see themselves in that role. There's a section here in red that I want to address. Twitter recently updated a little bit, and they said, do not simultaneously post identical or substantially similar content to multiple accounts and do not allow your users to. For example, your service should not permit a user to select several accounts they control from which to publish a given tweet. What does that mean? So we go back here. What it means is if we're auto-feeding jobs, we're auto-filling opportunities, auto-feeding these opportunities, we want to make sure that we're still being unique with the copy. If we're using the blueprint that Pat and his team are putting together, the incredible blueprint that I've seen, that I've talked to Pat about numerous times, if we're using that blueprint, add in a hashtag about your specific area. Maybe change the copy just a little bit so that it's just a little different than what else is getting published on Twitter. We want to make sure that you're unique. Again, if Twitter is like a glorified text message, how can we say the things that others are saying just a little bit differently? And to Pat's point and the blueprint, it's not about taking the blueprint and changing it completely. It's just adding in that location-based hashtag, adding in a location, adding in your city, changing things very, very, in a very minor way, but that'll have a big return here. Let's talk about Facebook and really 3 opportunities on Facebook. The first is publishing jobs from your job board. So the torchlight example, the orange example in the corner, just going to your job board, taking one of those available opportunities and publishing it on your company page. Just like that. Maybe you include the salary, you include some skills, some qualifications, some key identifiers for that role. Again, show the individual and the target individual in that imagery. But then we're just posting that. We're driving people back to the board where they can apply, where they can take action. The second opportunity would be using Facebook jobs. Show of hands. Anybody familiar with Facebook jobs? Anybody actively using Facebook jobs? It's not a lot. 1? Maybe? No? Sorry, I thought I saw a hand. Let's explain Facebook jobs. Facebook has their own job board. What happens is as you post a job to Facebook Jobs, individuals can apply directly on Facebook. One-click apply, Facebook scrapes their profile, sends it to you in a Facebook message. It's incredibly easy, it's incredibly quick. Ultimately, it's a lead. It's not a true application. They're not going through your whole funnel. They're not answering all of your pre-qualification forms. They're not giving you all of their information. They're only giving you what Facebook has told them to give you, what they've said Facebook can take when it scrapes their profile. But in terms of convenience and efficiency, getting to a candidate how they want to be reached, having Facebook Jobs deployed, we've seen tremendous success at Haley Marketing Group. We have case studies on our website that go further into detail about the true impact of Facebook Jobs. But again, just another tactic to consider. I want to talk about Facebook groups. So there's groups on Facebook, there's also groups on LinkedIn, so I'm going to tie these together. Groups are just communities where people are already congregating, are already talking, and are already looking for work. I talked to an MRI office a couple weeks ago. They have a group set up for linemen. So they're looking for very specific individuals in their target area. What happened from that is they, instead of using their Facebook page, created a group where now any lineman that's looking for work in their area knows to go there first for the next opportunity. Not only should we set up a group, more importantly, we should join groups. Look at local groups. Being from Buffalo, New York, I know that there's a wide range of now hiring in Buffalo, looking for work in Western New York jobs, Buffalo jobs. Join those groups and see what people are asking. Join the conversation. Don't just go in and post job after job after job, but instead, look at the conversation, look at what people are looking for, and when something pops up, join the conversation and be a part of that conversation. The last tactic that I want to talk about is Facebook paid. So doing any of these three things and surrounding them with paid. Not groups, but just the jobs and Facebook Jobs. So using Facebook's advertising platform, putting ad dollars, recruitment marketing spend behind those job opportunities, and boosting those, promoting those to the target, the exact individuals that fit your skill set, that fit your need. So using Facebook as an advertising platform. Blogging. The other day, Brad talked a lot about creating content for SEO purposes. I'm going to talk about blogging in terms of how it can drive traffic back to your website. How you can use blogging or even the Center for Recruiting Excellence that MRI is working with us to put together, not only on the MRI main website, but also on your URL. So let's say you have the Center for Recruiting Excellence and you have that content and it lives on your specific domain. What happens then is as you share content to LinkedIn, to Facebook, to Twitter, individuals start to come back to your homeland. Once they're on that website, we work them through tactic 2, our conversion funnel. We start to funnel them to key pages where they can take action. We're captivating their attention by talking about their pain points, talking about their challenges, giving them the answer to their question, and then we're telling them the next step. Instinctively, if somebody's going to come to your website from Facebook or LinkedIn, their first thought is to go right back and keep scrolling. We need to get in the way of that. And we can do so by deploying those calls to action, those different funnels, getting the website to work for us. But we need content to do that. When I think about blogging and the challenge and the chore of writing, start with a question that you never want to answer again. Think about what candidates might ask you. Think about even what clients might ask you. What email do you get week after week that takes you 10 to 20 minutes to answer that you never want to answer again? Write up the response, put it on your website, put it on your blog. Then when you get that question again, you say, hey, that's a great question. Our team actually just wrote about that. Why don't you read the article? And if you have additional questions, I'd love to hop on the phone and chat. Give them what they're looking for, and then give them the next step as well. If you're not thinking about creating custom content for yourself specifically, definitely think about the Center for Recruiting Excellence as a free resource on the main MRI site or on your own domain. Content's created for you. I know Pat's going to talk about it in a little bit, but it's a great resource that's provided through the network, and great opportunity to drive traffic back to your homeland. Emails and phone calls. So we want people to contact your team. This is 2 ways to do it. The first would be at the bottom of a piece of content or on the About Us page, on the Meet Our Team page. Very, very simply, put the phone number and put an email address. And make sure that both on mobile have the opportunity when, if clicked, they automatically shoot out. So on desktop, it's a little bit difficult to do that. You could integrate that with a product like Skype, where if somebody clicked that, they would set up a Skype call and call people directly. But on mobile, we want to make sure that any phone number on your website, when clicked, is actually dialed. Because truthfully, when was the last time anybody in this room saw a phone number on the internet, copied it or wrote it down, and then went over to their phone and then dialed it in from a website? We want everything to be as easy as possible for the end user. It's all about the candidate experience. It's all about the user experience. So if we have a phone number on our site, we have an email on our site, make sure that those links are clickable. Make sure that they go to the right location. That's the worst, right? We have a link on our site that's supposed to go here, and instead we end up here. If we think about the roadmap, if I tell Rachel we're going to Ocean City, and we end up in Blaisdell, New York, she's not going to be happy. So think about where we're trying to get people. Think about what that end step is supposed to be, and make sure that everything is funneling in the right direction. If you want phone calls on Facebook specifically, I wanted to include this example. You can change the main button on the page to contact us, call now, sign up. So if you're trying to generate more emails, you're trying to grow your email list, that button is very customizable in the settings. For me specifically, if I was to put together a Facebook page for anybody in this room, my first choice wouldn't be to make this button call now, for the same reason of you don't know when somebody's going to find that page. And if it's 11:30 at night and they click the button, what should they expect? You know, we want to make sure that they can get a hold of you how they want to, but we want to dictate what we're really telling them. So if we want to drive them to a contact page, great. If we want to drive them to Facebook Messenger, even better. Make it easy. Make sure it works. Becoming an employer of choice through social media. I know there's a lot of data on this screen. Really, I want to start primarily by talking about building online reviews. I talked about Jay Baer originally. He also has a book called Hug Your Haters. If you haven't read it, I would challenge you to do so. It's a great read about managing your online reputation, managing what he considers trolls. See, what happens instinctively is people are more likely to lash out when they have a bad experience with a company. Think about the last restaurant you went to. Did you write a review because the steak was really good? Or did you say, I'm going to go home and write a review because this steak was terrible? People are more likely to lash out and show people a piece of their mind when they have a negative experience. Well, if we're in the business of putting great people to work, every time you put an opportunity on your website, one individual gets that job. What happens to the 150 others that are now upset, frustrated, that you didn't find them the right opportunity? Right? Where are they going to go? Who are they going to tell? How is that going to damage your reputation that you've worked so hard to build? So manage that reputation. How can we do that? First off, if we're putting somebody to work and you know they're having a great experience, you know they love their new role, ask them to leave some positive feedback. Brad, I know you're having a great time. Would love it if you could go over to our Facebook page, really briefly leave us a review, let us know about your experience. Next time I see you, I'll give you a $10 Starbucks card for your time. Incentivize somebody. Offer that. When somebody has a negative experience, what do we do? I'm going to go back to Jay Baer and Hug Your Haters. Calls it basically the rule of twos. You're going to respond twice. So somebody lashes out and says, this firm stinks. Say it just like that, right? You're going to respond once. Brad, I'm sorry you had a bad experience. We strive to provide world-class service. We'd love to chat. Give us a call. Shoot me an email. The first reply should always be to take that offline. Never ask for feedback in a public forum, because if that person comes back stronger, now we're in an argument. Ultimately, we're going to look bad, not that individual. So we're going to say, Brad, I'd love for you to give me a call. I would love to chat about this because we pride ourselves on our service. Give me a call, shoot me an email, let's talk. They come back with another reply. I don't want to talk to you. Your service stinks. Your team stinks. I don't want to deal with it. Now what do? We're going to reply a second time. Brad, I understand you had a bad experience. I get it. We strive. For 20 plus years, we've provided a world-class experience for the candidates that we come into contact with. We're sorry that it didn't work out great for you, but we'd love to chat. Again, give us a call, shoot us an email. If they come back a third time, we're going to let it go. At that point, we've spoken our mind. We've given them 2 opportunities to contact us. If anybody comes across this review, they'll understand it, they'll see it. They'll know that we're trying to do the right thing. We're trying to be the better individual, the better organization in this situation. The worst thing that we can do is get into a shouting match on Facebook, on a public forum, because you've worked countless hours to develop this brand, develop your reputation. The worst thing that you can do is ruin it by one Facebook post. So again, be professional, ask for feedback, but do it in a private way. I also want to talk about real briefly, and I don't see it often, and as I say that, I'm a little bit nervous to check my email, but there are settings in Facebook where you can block keywords, bad words, we'll say. I'm not going to say them here, but if you Google bad words to block on Facebook, there's a setting in Facebook that's called page moderation, where you can paste in any inappropriate language. What happens there is it's never visible to anybody else, just your page settings see it. But if anybody ever uses that word on your Facebook page, to them, they see the comment is left, they see the review is left, but nobody else will ever see that. And again, think about what you're doing at 11:30 at night, 12 o'clock, you're not looking at your Facebook page. I know that for certain. But what if somebody else is, and somebody else leaves that review, and you don't check your page for 3 days? And now you have that language on your page. It's bad. So set yourself up for success. Go through and set that page moderation. Attracting new candidates. I want to talk about Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn, completely free. I know the LinkedIn reps are here. They have a ton of great solutions as well. But from a free sourcing standpoint, you could use their advanced search. So let's say you're looking for project managers in Boston. What you would do is you'd go to the search tab, you type in project manager, you would change the city to your specific location, and then you want to look for secondary connections. Secondary connections are somebody that you're connected to through somebody else. You just want to connect with those individuals. If you're looking for passive candidates at 4% unemployment, connecting with people that might be looking for their next opportunity or the next best thing is a great way to start moving the needle in the right direction. So reaching out to these individuals, and again, we're not going to sell right away. We're not going to just share our job opportunities right away. We're just going to connect. And through all the other things that we're doing on social, we're going to set ourselves up. We're sharing content. We're sharing jobs. They're seeing videos. They're seeing posts. They're seeing milestones in your life. They're seeing great things from around your office, around your building. They get to know who you are so that they're comfortable with you, so that when they're ready, they know to come to you first instead of going to somebody else. For Twitter, what I recommend doing is following local accounts. I don't want to spend a ton of time on Twitter because primarily, as I've talked to Pat and as we've worked with MRI offices, I know LinkedIn and Facebook are the sweet spot. But I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't talk about the platforms as a collective big three. So on Twitter, look at local organizations, chambers of commerce, the local newspaper. Follow those individuals and follow the people that follow them. Start to join their conversation, see what they're talking about. Do a search on Twitter and see who's typing in the roles that you're trying to fill in your area. Communicate with them. Again, use it as a text messaging solution. Send a tweet to that individual and start talking with them. And on Facebook, we can deploy what's considered a like campaign. So taking your ATS, exporting out all of the emails from your list, uploading that to Facebook and seeing if there's a match. So if Bialy at Haley Marketing Group is in your ATS, and then you take that email over to Facebook, and I also have a Facebook account set up through that email, you can now serve me ads. You can show me ads. What we're going to do is we're going to surround great copy, great imagery to stay top of mind. We could use them like a billboard so that your branding is ever changing and ever in front of them, that individual. Or it can be very specific. Find the next great role. Be an impact player. Optimize your career. Take your career to the next level. Have great copy that gets people thinking, hey, maybe there is something better out there for me. But we could do that with Facebook ads or a like campaign. A like campaign would generate likes. But with Facebook ads, we could serve them ads so that they're starting to see your messaging in a paid way. Activating passive candidates. Anybody go to Amazon in the past 3 to 6 months, look at a product, and then go over to Facebook and see that same product looking at you? Maybe it's a new phone, headphones, a pair of red Nikes. It's called remarketing. We call it re-recruiting at Haley Marketing Group. With re-recruiting, essentially what happens is we place a cookie, a piece of code on the website, on key pages of the website, so that when a candidate hits that page, now they go to Facebook, now they start to see your advertising. They see your ads for those roles. We've already worked so hard to get them to our website through our recruitment marketing spend. We're doing everything we can to get people back to apply for an available opportunity. Let's remarket them on the way out the door so that we get them in a funnel and we get them to keep coming back for additional information to browse available jobs. I found at Haley Marketing Group that repeat visitors are twice as likely to apply for a job as a first-time visitor. So again, you're already deploying marketing spend, recruitment marketing spend. Why not add remarketing into this, re-recruiting into this, so that we get people to come back and take advantage of the spend that we're already deploying? Let's talk about reactivating past candidates through email. I know this is a social media presentation, but it would be a disservice if we didn't talk about email. When you email a candidate, whether it's a past candidate, a passive candidate, somebody in your list, it doesn't always have to be about opportunities. Sure, there's an example here. Want to simplify your job search? Here are 4 great opportunities this week, this month. Click to apply. But you could also showcase seasonal instant mails. Maybe it's about the holidays. Maybe it's about New Year's Eve. Maybe it's Thanksgiving. Maybe it's just a we appreciate you. Or hey, we haven't talked in a while. Do you have a need for a new career? Are you looking for the next step in your career? Let's chat. Using email as a way to get into somebody's inbox where they can then take action. So reactivating past candidates by looking at your ATS. Looking at, again, I had mentioned that as you place one individual, there's countless others that didn't get that job. What do we do with them? We don't want to go out and find new people. We already have a great pool here. So let's send them email. Let's stay top of mind with them so that when another role opportunity or another opportunity arises that's perfect for their skill set, their qualifications, they already know who you are. They know to come to you instead of going to somebody else. Showcasing your brand identity. For me, as I go out and I speak and I deliver this roadmap, to me, this is the easiest place for recruiters, recruitment firms to start, because this is what you know social media to be already. Showcasing who you are, what you do, your team, showcasing your identity and who you are as an individual. I give another presentation on personal branding, and when it comes to personal branding and using social media, really the first step is to get personal. Showcase who you are and what makes you unique. Dr. Seuss says, today you are you, that's truer than true, and there's no one alive who is youer than you. As recruiters, you know that you're very unique. You know that you're targeting a very specific industry, a very significant group of individuals. You're unique, and individuals should work with you because of that. Are you showcasing that on social? If you were to walk up to me at the event last night and just start going right into work, you really wouldn't do that. You'd introduce yourself, you'd tell me where you're from, maybe go into a little bit of history about you personally, and then we'd get to that. You can start there on social as well. It's one tactic, one place to start. Again, we want to look at the collective roadmap, but this is a great place to start. So showcase your team. Showcase who you are. Now what? I'd said at the beginning of the presentation that my goal is not to overwhelm. My goal is not to say there are multiple social media tactics that you can deploy. Start doing all of these this afternoon. Instead, I want you to start with what you're most comfortable with. Think about LinkedIn. Think about Facebook. Think about Twitter. If we think about the 3-step process, if we go through it one more time, define your goals, not social media tactics. Define your business goals. What are you trying to achieve by January 1 of 2019, of 2020? How can we leverage social media as a tactic to help us get there? Once we deploy a tactic or two, now what? Well, we want to look at the data. Did you reach your goals? Were you successful? Did you make it to Ocean City? Or are you at some dead-end road in Buffalo, New York? Did you reach your end destination? Was the roadmap successful? If yes, great. If no, even better. With yes can come complacency, and we certainly do not want to get complacent. So we want to look at, more importantly, what didn't work so that we can make changes. We still want to capitalize on what is working, but when we look at social media and how things change so frequently, we want to pay close attention to what's not working so that we can either pivot out of that or remove it from our strategy. We do not want to get complacent with social media. We want to use this tool to drive more applications and close more job orders. So check the data. From there, we're going to identify our wins and losses, and we're going to launch another initiative. Social media, much like SEO, isn't something that we can do for 3 months, 6 months, and forget about. Social media isn't going anywhere. There's 1.6 billion active users on Facebook right now. Social media is a part of everybody's everyday life. And if you're sitting in the room thinking, well, Brad, it's not a part of my life. I don't look at Facebook. I don't look at LinkedIn. 1.6 billion people are active on Facebook every single month. Your candidates are on Facebook. So it might not be about your personal behavior on social media. Think about the end candidate. Provide them job opportunities, provide them content, provide them great resources through the Center for Recruiting Excellence. But you need to be present, you need to be thinking about these tools as a viable solution. So identify your wins, losses, and launch another initiative.